Chapter 3. And so Mr. and Mrs. Bold continues to tell their children the incredible story. It's a shocking tale, and it goes like this. When Mr. and Mrs. Bold arrived at Kilimanjaro Airport, they were feeling nervous and a little queasy. They had never been on a bus before, and the bumpy ride gave them both a headache. The sight of the big concrete building, with its high ceilings and lots of official security people wandering around, did little to calm their nerves. Unsure what to do, they just followed their fellow travellers. All of them collected their suitcases and joined the queue for what was called baggage check-in, whatever that meant. "Oh dear, Fred," said Amelia. "We're never going to get away with this. Whatever were we thinking?" "Stay calm," said Fred. "As long as we keep our hats on and our heads down, we should be fine. We'll just do what everyone else does." Suddenly, they were at the front of the queue. "Tickets and passports," said the man behind the counter. "Oh, yes, of course," said a flustered Amelia, fishing into her handbag and pulling out a used tissue and a packet of mints. "Here you are." "No, madam," said the man crossly. "Tickets and passports, I said." "Oh, I'm a silly old hyena. Sheila. Amelia. Woman. Human being. I'm not a hyena. Never have been." "Excuse my wife," said Fred, reaching into the handbag and passing the man the proper documents. "She's a nervous flyer." The man rolled his eyes and typed some details into his computer. "Did you pack these bags yourself?" "Oh yes," nodded Fred. "First time for everything." "Window or aisle?" "You'll what?" "Where would you like to sit?" "Oh, on the plane, please." The man sighed and handed them back their tickets and passports. "Make your way to passport control, just over there." "So far so good," said Fred to Amelia as they joined the next queue. "This is the tricky bit," said his wife. From the look of it, they seemed to be comparing people's faces to the photos in their passports. "Are we sure we want to do this? Leave our old life behind forever? Suppose we don't like living in England?" "Oh, we will, I'm sure," reassured Fred, taking hold of his wife's paw. "A new life, Amelia. A big new adventure." Just then, the conversation was interrupted by a low growl. There's a picture in the book. I think they might have encountered a dog. A security guard was leading a sniffer dog along the queue, and it had stopped next to the Bolds and was sniffing at them with great interest. "Ooh," said Fred. Can I help you?" "You're a pair of hyenas," declared the sniffer dog. Fortunately, he said this in animal language, so his handler couldn't understand. "What are you up to?" "Oh, we're off to England." "Don't give the game away, old boy, please." "No worries," said the dog. "But go for the passport control cubicle on the left. The lady there will understand," said the dog, giving the two nervous hyenas a wink. "Thank you," said Mrs. Bold. "I'd better move on before my handler gets suspicious." "Good luck," he said cheerily, and began to sniff the next people in the queue. When they got to the recommended queue, Mr. and Mrs. Bold realised why it was a good idea. Sitting in the cubicle wearing a smart uniform, earrings, lipstick was an ostrich. There you go. Can you believe it? The Bolds recognised her at once. It was Dolores. She used to be seen racing across the Serengeti National Park near the hyena burrow until she suddenly disappeared about 6 months ago. Everyone assumed she'd been eaten by a lion, but now it seemed that she'd had a similar idea to the Bolds and decided to try living as a human being. Mr. Bold gave the ostrich a knowing smile as he handed over the passports. "Here they are," said Fred without further ado. The ostrich's eyes widened in surprise. "Spot, so I do declare." Fred and Amelia, you mean," said Fred, glancing over his shoulder, "as it says on our passports. Look." The ostrich cleared her throat. "Everything seems to be in order. Have you enjoyed your holiday?" "It's very pleasant." It was very pleasant. Fred lowered his voice. "Nice to see you, Dolores. You're working here now, then?" "Since when?" When?" "I had to get away," said Dolores quietly. Life as an ostrich was foul. She handed back the passports. "Have a good flight, and good luck." "Thanks, same to you," smiled the Bolds, and they were on their way. There was almost a disaster when Fred thought he was supposed to sit on the conveyor belt to go through security X-ray machine, but Amelia managed to stop him before he climbed on. "I think it's just for the hand luggage, dear," she cautioned. "Your tail would show up on the X-ray machine, and I don't think that would be helpful." So before they knew it, Mr. and Mrs. Bold were sitting on the plane as it taxied along the runway for takeoff. They'd seen planes flying high above them when they were living in the Serengeti, but they could never quite imagine being on one and travelling through the sky themselves. Now they were about to find out what it was like. But first, there was the safety demonstration. The Bolds listened attentively until the flight attendant placed the oxygen mask over her face. To two hyenas, the mask looked like a snout and reminded them of something they'd seen before. "It's a warthog," declared Fred. "Oh my goodness, exactly like one," said Amelia, and then the Bolds began to hoot and cackle, and once they started they weren't able to stop. The man sitting in the front of the Bolds had heard the remark and had a chuckle himself. "Hey," he said, looking through the gap in the seats. "What'd you give a sick hog?" "Ointment." "Ah!" laughed Mr. Bold. Pleased his joke had gone down so well, the man tried another. "What do you call pigs who steal things?" "A hamburglar." Again, you can see him having a good laugh on the plane. This was too much for the Bolds, and had it not been for their seatbelts, they would have been rolling in the aisles. They were laughing so loudly the flight attendant glared at them. "Please pay attention," she said sternly. "The demonstration is for your own safety." Mrs. Bold elbowed her husband in the ribs. "We do apologise," she said, trying her best to keep a straight face, "but we just heard a cracking joke." Fred and Amelia found the takeoff very exhilarating and whooped with excitement. Then there was the thrill of the refreshments trolley coming around. The Bolds tried a fizzy drink for the first time, and the feeling of the bubbles in their mouths made them laugh again. But it had been a long morning, full of new experiences, and tiredness soon swept over them. Being hyenas, they didn't sleep sitting up in their seats, but curled into a ball like a dog in front of the fire. People passing down the aisle thought this was rather strange, but not strange enough to think the Bolds were anything other than rather eccentric human beings. As they drifted off to sleep, both Fred and Amelia were wondering what the future had in store for them, and whether they would really be able to carry off their new identities. Serengeti was lovely, but they were an adventurous young couple, and they wanted to experience new things. There was a big, wonderful world out there, and they wanted to explore it all. Seeing Dolores working as a passport inspector at the airport had reassured them. They weren't the only animals to start a secret new life. It could be done. As with anything in life, there is always an element of luck too. How fortunate that your mother met your father, otherwise they wouldn't have had you. How lucky that you live where you do, or you wouldn't be able to find the way home. And what a stroke of luck that you picked up this book, or you wouldn't be reading all about the Bolds right now. And so it was for the Bolds. Luck was definitely on their side when they landed in England, and they had to face another tricky passport situation. Of course, the photos in the passports were of the original Fred and Amelia and looked nothing like Spot and Sue. Dolores had helped them at Kilimanjaro, but what was going to happen now? As they reached the booth and handed their passports to a rather surly, suspicious inspector, a fly landed on his nose. He waved it away, but it returned again. This happened again and again until the man sneezed. The sneeze made his eyes all watery. He looked from the passports to the Bolds. His vision was rather blurred, and the difference is fresh-faced in the photo, hairy in real life, dry-nosed in the photo, wet-nosed in real life, ears on the side of their heads in the photo, sticking up on top of their heads in real life, passed him by. Reaching for his hanky, the inspector waved the Bolds through. They had made it. Now they just had to collect their bags and get to their new home. They've often wondered since if this business with the fly was really a coincidence. Perhaps this fly had come with them from the Serengeti, onto the coach through passport, through the airport and onto the plane, maybe hidden in Mrs. Bold's handbag. Could it be that this fly knew he might be of vital assistance? We will never know the answer, for sure, but I know what I think. So to cut a long story medium length, the Bolds were almost home and dry. Although dry is an unfortunate choice of word as it happens, when they emerged from the airport it was a very cold November day and pouring with rain. Mr. and Mrs. Bold had never experienced cold before. Brrr, shivered Mr. Bold. Gosh, it's cold here. Freezation, Fred, agreed Amelia. Then she noticed the clouds of condensed air as he breathed. What's that coming out of your mouth? Ah, and from yours, said Fred. He looked around. It's not just us. Everyone has got great big cloud things coming out of their mouths and noses when they breathe. It's hilarious. And they stood in the taxi queue laughing heartily with every breath until it was their turn to climb into a shiny black cab. Where to, please, love? Asked the driver. 41 Fairfield Road, Teddington, said Mr. Bold, remembering the address on the key ring. Be somewhere nice? Asked the chatty cab driver, looking at her two passengers in the rear view. Oh, we've been on safari, said Mr. Bold. Enjoy it? Lovely, thanks, said Mrs. Bold. What do you get if you cross a road with a safari park? Double yellow lions. Get it? The Bolds had only just arrived in England and didn't know what double yellow lines or lines were, but the punchline sounded funny, so they laughed anyway, which encouraged the taxi driver to tell another joke. What do you get if you cross an elephant with a bottle of whiskey? Drunk and disorderly. Ha ha, laughed Mr. Bold. The more jokes he heard, the better he liked them. My name is Jenny, by the way, said the driver. Pleased to meet you, Jenny, said Mr. Bold politely. Aware that she had a captive, appreciative audience, Jenny continued to chat. Doing anything nice for Christmas? I'm having my grandma, which will make a change. We normally have turkey. What's the difference between a wet day and an injured lion? One pours with rain and the other roars with pain. Terrible. Why does a traffic light turn red? Well, you've had to change in front of everyone. You turn red too. I'll get it. And her jokes continued for the entire journey until the taxi pulled up outside a lovely semi-detached house in a pleasant suburban road, by which time the Bolds were weak with laughter. Here we are then, said Jenny. You're home. Chapter 4 is the next one, and we'll read that tomorrow.